Okay, so the Six Nations resumed for its third weekend this year. Wales are playing England in Cardiff. Tale of two teams going in two different directions. Now, with the build-up to the game overshadowed by the threat of strike action by the Welsh players against the Union, and with their ongoing pay issue and their ongoing financial issues, you would have been forgiven if the Welsh players, had decided to go ahead with their strike action. I have a lot of sympathy for the Welsh players with what's going on within the game in Wales. And the English game as well, at club level, does have money issues. So the backdrop to this famous rivalry and this weekend has been overshadowed. The Six Nations has been overshadowed with what's happening off the field with clubs and off the field with unions, with some of the issues that are clearly in play within the game. England, you can see what they're doing under Steve Borthwick. They're buying in piece by piece. There's still a lot of room for improvement. They should have won by more. They left points on the field, and Owen Farrell's goal kicking was atrocious today. I think Marcus Smith. I think they should go with Marcus Smith. I understand why they decided to go for an experienced fly half in this game, considering that the form of both sides hasn't been great. And even though England beat Italy, they weren't perfect in that game. There's a lot of areas they need to improve on, which they are doing. The penalty count massively improved by England, by the way. Wales are going the other way. And even if you take out the pay dispute and the financial issues and the structural issues that the Welsh game has, Wales are going backwards. And backwards in, I don't know how many reverse gears you can get on a 5-speed manual, but they put the gearbox in the wrong way around. They're too slow at the breakdown. They've lost the contact area. Some of the team selection throughout the Six Nations for positions, dropping players who have had decent games. Bringing inexperienced young players into a very negative environment. Warren Gatland is not the answer on the field because his era's done. And he hasn't got the same support coaches he had before because they've gone on to do different things. He doesn't have a Sean Edwards, for example, as his defence coach because he's with the French team and doing rather well. Whereas England have decided to, again, change coach. They've gone with Borthwick. He's brought a lot of his ideas that have been very successful at Leicester over. He's also brought in coaches from outside, such as Sinfield from Rugby League for the defence side of things, which is paying off. And he's brought in coaches from other clubs within the English Premiership, which is paying off. Now, England, not perfect today. It was a scrappy game. There was a lot of turnovers, a lot of knock-ons. England won the kicking game, the aerial battle, the tactical kicking side of things as well. Where they let themselves down was some of their decision-making in the final third. They had a lot of possession, and getting some of those decisions wrong. They didn't really use the rolling maul today, which I think was deliberate because I think the Welsh would have prepared for that. So they literally, as soon as they got the ball off the line out, they moved it quickly. So while it was strong last week against the Italians, who like the set play kind of battle, England decided to switch it up. So tactical flexibility by Borthwick and his coaching staff and the players on the field is a good thing. Owen Farrell, mixed game, very mixed game. His goal kicking was atrocious. I think they possibly should have injected Marcus Smith earlier, or maybe started Marcus Smith. I honestly think Marcus Smith has been England's best player over the last year and a half. Even towards the end of the Eddie Jones era, where things were going wrong, Marcus Smith, in my opinion, impressed me the most. He was England's top scorer last year in the Six Nations. He's really a very experienced player by Premiership standards. He's very young in his international career, but he's clearly the spark at 10 that I think England need. I understand why they went with Farrell today to start, but mixed results with Farrell today. On the Wales side of things, where to begin? Their bright moment comes from an intercept. Other than that, they were just dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. Their kicking tactically was atrocious. They kept kicking into Stewart, the fullback, and he only mishandled the ball twice out of God knows how many receptions. Mayland as well kept kicking to him. Anthony Watson, I think, is the weakest of the back three for England under the high ball, and he dealt with that pretty well as well. And so automatically you're giving the opposition with three very, very good players onto the high ball. Admittedly, Watson's the weakest, but when you're giving, Freddie Stewart, that much free ball basically with no pressure on him, and even with pressure on him, they weren't contesting well enough. You're going to make it a very long 80 minutes for yourselves. Now, Farrell opens the scoring after 10 minutes with one of his few kicks that he managed to convert. And then the Anthony Watson try, 8 minutes later on 18 minutes, that is a team try, that is a good set play. They start on one side of the field. Within 2, maybe 3 phases, he scores. And it's all to do with the pace of the ball, the dummy runners, drawing in defenders, defensive mismatches. And Anthony Watson, he's had a lot of injuries, bless him. He's one of the best pure sprinters rugby union has. And he had a very good game. He didn't have as many touches on the ball as I think England fans would like, but that was a very good finish. And you can see the intent from England with the pace on the ball. Wales, slow, plodding, they had nothing. I mean, Lee Halfpenny slots the penalty on 22 minutes, and it's 8-3 at half-time. England should have been ahead by more. Owen Farrell missing a few kicks at goal, didn't convert the Watson try, for example. And England, you can see what they were trying to do. A few rushed plays, didn't fully take advantage of the weight of possession. The penalty count is in their favour for once, not the other way round. Did not take advantage. They have a very good line-out rolling ball set play. They didn't use it today, which I understand possibly why. The Welsh would have prepared for that. Use that preparation against them, but use it occasionally. They didn't. Found that really surprising. They were in positions where they're on top, take points, or continue to turn the screw, and they didn't do it enough in the first half. Second half, Wales blitz defence. I don't know what Malins is trying to do with the pass there, because Rees-Zammit is in his eye line, and it's just a pop pass to him. It's the easiest intercept I think you're ever going to see. That was the bright spark in the second half for Wales. Their try comes from an intercept. Sums up Wales, really. They had a few moments of possession where they got second phase and offloads, but they couldn't crack the England line, and they couldn't really get in the 22, even in the 10-metre area. They kept losing the breakdown, knocking on, and very quickly after the Rees-Zammit try, the Carl Sinkler try. And this is where England finally did show a bit of patience when the initial set play doesn't work. They could have got it out wide to Ollie Lawrence, who was deliberately standing on the wing looking for a crossfield kick. But the England forwards take over, and some of the backs also with crash plays. And that is another team try where individual players took responsibility, realising we need to just keep this tight. The set play didn't work out like the Anthony Watson try did, but they controlled it. And they get rewarded with basically brute force. But again, backs and forwards involved in and around a tight area with crash balls, little pop passes, and they had multiple phases. And they are richly rewarded with their second try. Farrell finally converts. Then there's a few more missed kicks by Farrell, which his kicking today was absolutely dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. For an international level player, an international level goal kicker, who's got over an 80 to 90% kick percentage, depending on the season and depending on the tournament. His kick percentage today was really bad. It was at 40%. It was bad. That could have cost England because Wales was still lingering in the game. England weren't, breaking that elastic band. And for the next 30 minutes, Wales were lingering in the sense that England were not pushing their advantage. They weren't using some of their good set plays. And it was a scrappy game. England were doing things faster than Wales and a bit more accurately than Wales. So that England, you can see, are a team in transition who are trying to do the right things. And that 30 minutes between the Sinkler try and the Ollie Lawrence try, you can see what England are trying to do and what they're trying to implement and what the instructions are. Wales, they had flashes of, we got the ball, and they've kicked it. We got the ball, and they've kicked it. And who was it going to? Freddie Stewart. 9 times out of 10, the ball would end up in his hands from a box kick or a clearance kick after 2-3 phases. Wales did have a period where they had like a 20-phase period just before half time, and England held them out. Under Eddie Jones, there's penalties in there. Wales are in the lead at half time. Under Borthwick, the opposite is happening. The penalty count is lower. The discipline is better. I mean, clearly that is a coaching thing. They're not pushing the boundaries of penalties as much. They know when to compete and not to compete on the breakdown. Wales lingering in the game, England not taking their opportunities, but the Ollie Lawrence try was just a long-winded version of the Anthony Watson try, really. Most of the play is on the right-hand side. Many phases. And finally, they stretch the Welsh defence. They find the defensive mismatches. They make the right decision at the right time. And Ollie Lawrence, underrated player. I mean, he's an inside centre on the wing at this point. That is, I think, a deliberate ploy they were actually employing in the second half, where they were switching the wingers, the centres around to create defensive mismatches. Anthony Watson has gone into first receive, and they're all involved. Stewart's involved coming in. You can see that they are deliberately doing that down their left-hand side channel, where it's causing the Welsh defenders problems because they've been told outside centre pick up outside centre, inside centre pick up inside. You've got a man mark your man, you've got to pick up your, and suddenly the guy you've been against all after what? Who's this? And Ollie Lawrence has cheeky. You've got to be a bit careful with those one-handed put downs, but Wales just the elastic snapped. Now again, Farrell's kick is just all over the place. It's like a scattergun kicking today. England did enough today. They could have had a bigger scoreline. Wales, rock bottom of the Six Nations, not even a losing bonus point yet again. And if this is Ireland or France, maybe even Scotland, we're talking 50 points put on them. That's how bad Wales were. Italy, I think, would be a similar scoreline when they play Wales with the way they're playing, even in defeat. They're doing things, again, quicker, more accurate. There seems to be better discipline when you see them play. Wales are slow, methodical, plodding. And apart from that 20-phase period at the end of the first half, they want to kick after 2-3 phases, ping it. And they're always kicking right down the fullback or the winger's throat. And what we've seen with the other 5 nations is their back 3. Very good under the high ball. And a lot of them are seeking to run it back rather than kick it back. So automatically, if you're trying to gain that advantage of territory through what we call the kicking tennis, other nations might kick it once or twice and then decide the third time we receive it, we're going to run. In England's case, they didn't kick it as much. They decided to run it more. And the Welsh weren't expecting that. So there we go. There's my review of it. England beat Wales 20 points to 10. Wales, dreadful. England, improving. There we go. But accuracy could be better, but you can see what they're growing towards. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.